It's hot up here.
It's hot and it's monotonous.
They look more like they're cleaning frames than they're doing anything. And I do a lot of times where I go check and I'm just looking to see if I see they put any nectar in there, and they're just putting a little bit. There's a little glistening in there, but they're mostly just cleaning things up in case they need it. And you can see this brown spot meant we had brood go up and get raised in this honey super at one time or another. So there's not a lot of activity in this one, so Jim's going to set it over there. We put a stand there to try to help us to not have to bend down and set things on the ground as they get heavier. So
when did you put it on?
when did we put it on? The second super was last week. So you can look, the hive is doing really well. I mean, you just look at it. We can see that there's honey on the outside without looking, just by how fat the comb is. They're probably putting honey there. We'll take out this frame right here because this one's pretty full, and we'll just move it over. So you don't necessarily in the summer need to take out the outside frame. You want to take out one that is the easiest to not hurt any bees. It's a little hard if you've got 10
Queen's right there.
Well, what a lucky day. And she's still got her white dot on her. Now, see how she's hanging around the bottom? That's sort of why you want to be careful. Now, this makes me a little leery to set this frame back in or set it outside. So Jim's going to hold that, and I'm going to ease this frame out right here. And now he can set that back in very carefully. What's she doing on there? Is it all hatched? She's got a boatload of larvae over here.
No, she's laid a whole bunch of eggs. Where'd she go? There she is, okay.
Kind of want to know where she is when you set her in, so she isn't against the wood. There's your frame, and that is the direction. So it looks pretty good. Got brood on it. Now the brood is, if you go back and look at our earlier videos, the brood was very out to the outside of the wood on the end bars, and now you'll see your brood is it's a smaller oval than before. And there's a perfect example. See, she stopped out here. But look at that. That is picture perfect. She is, I'll show them the other side. She is laying really good. Look at that. What do we got down here, Jim? Larva?
No, not yet.
Nope.
She hasn't backfilled.
So she hasn't backfilled yet. All of it. That's excellent. So this time of year with this heat and the nectar flow, basically no weight gain on this hive, our concern would be now to start watching as most likely the queen is going to back off on brood rearing, but she's only backed off a little bit, so we're in good shape yet. So they're comfortable with where they're at, but they got plenty of food and they're maintaining their weight. So if they're maintaining, they're going to be pretty happy. There you go. That's a nice frame of brood. So we got 3 frames of brood there. And here is a 4th frame of brood, it looks like. Got larvae in there?
No.
No? Eggs?
No.
Oh yeah, we got eggs.
Where?
Right dead center in the middle. Takes 2 sets of old eyes to find eggs.
Oh, there they are, yeah.
I could get the angle I am. The sun is kind of over
there's
my shoulder.
Larvae all over the place here.
So we got another frame of brood. So we're at 4 frames of brood. Now we'll go all the way and look at the outside frame this time, and then we'll push it all back over and look at the other outside frame. That's a brood frame too. Look at that. We've got 5 frames of brood here. 6 actually, because we got one sitting over there. And now we're going to look at this frame right here. With all this heat, it's pretty wise, like Jim and I are doing. The bees are bouncing around my face right now, so not having my veil on might get exciting. Now she's laying brood there.
Well, I think this is the older brood.
It's transitioning.
It's transitioning into their. As soon as they emerge out of there, they're filling it with honey, nectar.
The hive's got good pollen stores in it.
Same thing on this side.
So we're doing really good there. Now we're going to carefully slip our frame of there. This goes.
Yeah.
So we want to keep our frames in order if we can, just because of the way where the queen was at and laying. We'll give Jim room there to slip her back in. That's where we found her. So now you see why you make a hole to put your frames in. You lift them up straight and up and down so you don't brush the queen or anything or hurt anybody. And Jim's going to slowly try to get his finger out of there. As your season wears on, your gloves get sticky and everything wants to hang on to them. So our bottom box looks excellent. So let's take a look at our second box, and we'll turn around here and work that. Here. All honey and capped, which is a good sign. So this one I can look down, it's totally capped all the way to the bottom. This one is capped too. So you don't really need to pull out a capped honey frame if you could see that it is. Usually you could tell by weight. There's good bee coverage over that. Now we want to look. Let's see what we got in there. Any brood?
Yes.
So she had a little brood in here, but you could see earlier this was all honey. She never had brood up this high. So this is the only area she had brood. And you could see they're kind of leaving it open for her. So we have the 6 frames of brood downstairs, and we got a frame here. Has she relayed it?
Eggs.
Eggs?
Yep.
There we go. So she's kind of using that a little bit. It's not a problem this time of year. And there's brood there too, because you can see it's open. But you notice all the honey stored in here is capped. Okay?
Larva.
Okay, so we got 2 frames of brood there. The next one is maybe just a little bit, but it looks like it's all honey. And this outside frame is all honey.
This is fresh.
Yeah, this is brood on one side and honey on the other. Look at that. They're starting to squeeze that one out and they'll turn it into a honey frame. So we're looking really good. We got the equivalent of about 2 frames of honey downstairs, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of honey up here. So we're looking pretty good for honey stores this time of year. And so we're in good shape here. This is an excellent hive. Remember, they put quite a bit of honey upstairs in that number 3 box, which is a honey super. So Jim is going to set this back on the hive. And the bees are down, so we're going to be all right. And seven frames of brood, and the rest is honey. Okay, Jim, let's set this one down, that one there that's the top on here. And we'll just take a quick peek in the middle frame of that bottom super. Remember, this one is pretty much empty. I don't see a lot of capping of honey going on. So now here's something we'll be talking about the meeting tonight, but when they have it capped a little there, my one thing I've always noticed in the past is that they'll put nectar in there and don't cap it. They very well could be thinking about pulling that down into the bottom box eventually if there's no more nectar flow. So
If you have a super and it's not fully capped and it doesn't leak out when you pick it up, it's fine to extract that
yes.
honey.
Yes.
They've already got it ready to cap, they just haven't capped it because they're thinking about moving it or consuming it.
So honey is usually cured overnight by the bees. If you have a honey flow where they're picking up 6-7 pounds a day, you kind of don't want to pull that box off because it's probably still got some raw honey in it. Nectar flow is obviously pretty well stocked. Now there is areas that are probably not being affected by a shutdown of the nectar flow. I was up northern Idaho this week. The grass along the highway was green, sweet clover was blooming, and the knapweed hadn't dried up or hadn't even headed out. Down here in the valley, up by Mead in that area, the knapweed is already headed and dried out. So that's our fall flow or late summer flow. And so we're probably not going to have anything off of that unless we get a lot of rain and it regrows and puts new heads out. So right now, I would say the honey flow is slowing down or practically non-existent for a lot of us. There will be areas that are probably pretty good for it. The South Hill.
South of town, it's pretty much all done.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a community area where there's a lot of people watering and stuff like that. All the canola's gone, all the alfalfa's gone. There's no way they're going to get a second crop, and even if they do, there's not enough moisture in the ground for the alfalfa to produce a nectar. The thing that's getting me is all the fall flowers are blooming now. Mullein is in bloom, and that normally doesn't start blooming till August. So I've started to pull all my supers. And concentrate on mite control and making sure they have enough honey to make it through the winter. And if I have to start feeding, I will.
So now is a really good time to count your honey frames in your brood boxes and make sure you understand what you got, because the goal is to kind of fill 85% of your second box with honey and a little bit down in the bottom. This hive is close to having adequate stores. It's got 2 frames in the top and a little bit of the third one that it could add more honey to, and it probably will slowly add that, but it's got lots of honey in the bottom box, so it's in pretty good shape going for winter right now.
The problem with this hive is if it was in a different area where there wasn't as much moisture around, there's a lot of bees that are going to be emerging here, and they're going to consume a lot of honey if they can't find it. So you just really got to watch it right now.
Now we got a little bit more activity.
Yeah, we do.
Than we did last time.
Well, they glued it down pretty good up here too. Got it? Still pretty light, but you can see they've drawn the comb out a little bit. There is some nectar in there though.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
What's the other side look like?
Not the same. New comb.
Oh, yeah, but they're doing some here. There's a little bit of nectar in there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what the other one next to it is.
Yep, they're definitely bringing some nectar.
Where do you see the most bees? Ah, this one right here.
Yep. Cowgirls, get out of there. This one's glued down pretty good. Oh yes, got a little bit more weight. It's all nectar.
Oh yeah. So we
See
do
that?
have nectar going on in our top box, which is a new box we put on 2 weeks ago. As you can see, this frame here has got nectar all in this area right here. Let's see the other side. Not much on
Not
that
as much,
side,
a little bit.
but this side is toward the wood. This side is toward this inside frame where we had a little bit more nectar also. So we're doing good. No, turn it the other way. Yeah. We'll match up to what they're doing. So we're getting, last week we didn't have any nectar in this top box, so we're good. We're gonna set this top box over here, Larry is. And we're gonna look, this one here has got capped honey in it. Here, here, here. So we got some capped honey going on. Let's smoke this a little bit and pull this frame. If you guys, we didn't have any brood upstairs last week, so let's just double check and make sure we don't have any. Nope, that one won't. Let's check this one. This one's got capped honey down halfway. So we just pick it up just to see if it's staying honey.
It's got some weight.
Staying honey, and
Yeah.
we don't have any brood in there.
No.
But if you'll notice, it's a perfect frame for you to look at. They started filling out here. They're capping. Look, they leave the center alone in case the queen has to come up and lay. We should expect shortly that this will be filled up. Again, they did the same thing here. Okay, they've capped. They're saying they're done with it, so that's good. Now, we saw some comments on Facebook about, you know, if they don't have, if their honey is not capped, is it extractable the way it is? Is it going to be raw? Is it going to not be the proper consistency honey needs? Remember, with this heat we got, the water's going to evaporate out of these frames really fast. The bees will process anything they're bringing in. This hive gained a couple pounds. What was it, 3?
3 pounds.
3 pounds, so there isn't a lot of new honey in here, so they're gonna process that during the night. So if you went in here this time of day, usually you wanna pull honey before it gets above 85 degrees, and you could brush the bees off, or you could use a fume pad on it, and the bees would run out. But fume boards only work at above 85. They basically cease working. They just drug the bees. So we're gonna set this super off on that other one.
Well, it's definitely got some weight to it. All the weight is on this side. You can feel the weight difference.
So we got one here, and we're going to do something we don't normally want you to do, but we're gonna slide these over. You wanna smoke that a little bit? Last week, we had a little bit of, now we've been cleaning our bars really good, okay? So they're gonna come this way. But we're gonna pull this one or this one out and look at it real carefully. And, we got it? We had a little brood in it last week, and we have brood there now.
Just a little.
So last week, these frames were honey, and I could see the brood on this one. So the 2 frames that had brood still have it. They've capped some of it, but I don't see, there's fresh eggs in there, so she's been popping up here laying.
Yep.
So we don't need to go through this box. Look, last week we found her up here, but we just wanted to check and see if she was still doing her brood deal. Okay, now, Larry's gonna grunt and groan when he lives this one. Set it on the
On the lid.
lid,
Just in
in
case
case
the
we have
queen's
to
in
go
there.
in it. Okay. So we smoked the bees down. This is going to be a pretty quick inspection. You don't need to go in and do the in-depth inspection. You've got a good tracked history on them. As you can see, they're starting to fly around my shoulder and stuff. Pretty soon, they're going to come around to my face.
Some cap brood.
Nice cap brood, few drones on the frame. Turn it so he can get a good picture of it. There we go. Look at the other side.
Oh, there's
And
larva.
Larva, lots of larva there.
Yeah.
Man, she's laying really good.
Yeah.
So we'll put that on the outside, sit right over there. So we'll look at the next frame. Again,
All brood.
excellent. You would never expect to see a queen cell in here right now unless if there's something seriously wrong. In the middle of that is eggs.
Yep.
So this is the recent hatch. She's laid in there. They're at about 45 degrees. So that's a 2-day-old laying in there. So let's see if we can find her here.
She's gotta be close.
Now you notice these frames are about matching up with the two upstairs. There she is,
There she is.
right in the middle of the
Yep,
frame,
sure
looking
is.
for a place to drop an egg.
Yep.
The brood looks extremely healthy. I don't see any kind of disease on the brood. The bees are very, very gentle on the brood. Look at that.
It's full.
It's clear full.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Looks amazing. Button it back up.
No, keep
Keep
going.
going.
So we would expect this time of year normally to see, if this would have been a wetter year, we probably would have had a little more brood. But we're going to see that we've got about 6, 7, 8 frames of brood in here, and that will be extremely normal. And we got eggs in there.
Yep.
So what you see her doing here is she's keeping control of her brood nest and keeping it laid out so they're not dumping honey in her brood nest. Honey you find in the brood nest that's just dumped in the middle is usually just fresh nectar that hasn't been processed. So you don't ever want to take that.
Eggs, larva.
That's a lot of larvae on the bottom there.
Yep.
And turn it over. Again,
Same. Yep.
look, that's all eggs and larvae in here. She's doing a really, really good job of laying.
Yeah, she's slamming.
Now, last week when we looked at these outside frames, we had brood on the inside, but they were closing down the outside for honey. What's that?
Looks like.
Got eggs in there?
Yeah, I got eggs.
Got eggs?
No larva, and we got a little cap left that
Yeah,
hasn't
little
hatched.
cap. That's a hatched out frame.
Yeah.
You see how that hatched out?
Yep, same eggs and larva on this side.
Yep.
Oh,
So let's look at that outside frame over
Okay.
there. So we have 6 frames of honey upstairs. We know that from last inspection.
Not seeing any eggs on this one.
And she hasn't started. So here is a frame she's backed off on.
Yep.
So with this heat, you should see him back off a little bit. That probably has hatched out in the last week, and that's what's going on. And she probably won't go back and lay in that. Let's look at this one and make sure what we got. Now they're filling this
Wow.
with honey pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, they are.
And there's your outside. And this is all pollen,
Pollen.
in here. Turn
Yeah.
it so you can see
Yeah,
it.
all pollen.
All pollen there, which is excellent. We've turned that frame so it's toward the brood nest. See the drones? If you look at here, see all the drones hiding out here on the edge? Bill has told me he's seen some of his hives, they're throwing the drones out already. Which if you see him not letting drones in, or the hives start getting no drones, then you know they're prepping, they're doing winter prep.
Yeah, I'm still loaded on drones. They haven't.
Mine have a lot of drones in them too, so they're not totally shut down for winter. And Larry's got a bee on him right here, and she's just loaded with pollen and stuff. Look at her. Gentle as can be, these bees.
Boy, they are. This has been a great year for gentle bees.
Okay, so now smoke the top. Now we want to get these bees off of here so we can set the other box on top. Okay, and here it comes. And we're gonna put the 2 supers on here. This one's already smoked down, so we'll just set that super on there, and again, he will smoke the super, so the bees will go down. That's a pretty nice looking hive. That's what I would expect given the weather conditions we're seeing. We've got about 8 frames of brood in there. We've got 6 solid frames of honey upstairs. We've got a frame and maybe of honey on the 2 outside frames, and they're putting it in there now. And we've got the first honey super is pretty much clear full. So that kind of a wrap on that one. Nice. Okay, we have 8 frames of brood, 6+ frames of honey, 1 frame of pollen. And
How many frames of bees do you think? Last week we had 24. I think we got more than that.
24 plus.
24 plus.